The rival is an incredibly attractive archetype, a character who creates drama, conflict, and forces the protagonist to surpass themselves both physically and mentally. We see this archetype everywhere, in movies, books, anime, video games, Son Goku and Vegeta, Dante and Virgil, Red and Blue, Indiana Jones and Belloc, and, of course, Sora and Riku. These rivals often present themselves as villains or become one only to later redeem themselves and become a beloved anti-hero among fans. Of the 5 examples I have given, this happens in 3 of them. Vegeta, Virgil, and Riku are extremely interesting characters, but today we're going to focus on the hero of the balance between light and darkness, Riku. Let's go. When we are introduced to Riku in Kingdom Hearts, he is a bit of a dick. I have chosen that description very carefully. He is not evil, he is not an asshole, not even a complete dick, just a bit of a dick. He thinks he's the best at everything and he believes that gives him the right to be, well, a bit of a dick. He teases Sora, making fun of his crush on Kairi, but it doesn't go beyond a friendly jab. But more than being better at everything, what makes him stand out is that he asks questions that others don't. As we saw in Sora's video, Riku questions his place in the world, to which Sora responds with a, well, I don't know.
It's just, I've always wondered why we're here, on this island. If there are any other worlds out there, why did we end up on this one? And suppose there are other worlds. Then ours is just a little piece of something much greater. So, we could have just as easily ended up somewhere else, right?
I don't know.
It's interesting, we can see exactly why Riku is like this thanks to the prequel, Birth by Sleep. At just 5 years old, Riku shows a kindness and wisdom that impress Terra, which leads him to perform the Keyblade Inheritance Ceremony, an act that makes Riku a chosen wielder of the Keyblade. Riku never forgets Terra, nor what happened that day, but, as Terra usually does, he messed up without meaning to. Convincing a child that they are special at such an early age can go very wrong, and indeed, it went very wrong. Riku grew up knowing he was unique, and that led him to despise others and believe he deserved more. Unfortunately, this precisely leads him to lose the kindness and wisdom he had as a child, and he will not regain them until much later, after himself and others suffer due to his actions. This is not directly stated in his first installment, but Chain of Memories and Recoded confirm that it was Riku who caused the destruction of the Destiny Islands. He believes he is so special, he desires so much to become who he thinks he deserves to be, yet he is willing to sacrifice his entire world, except for the people who matter to him, Sora and Kairi. Believing he was special turned a good boy into a monster. But, well, before insulting, one must admit that poor Riku had quite a bit of bad luck. In a moment of fortune, Sora got hold of what should have been his Keyblade and ended up in Traverse Town, where he would meet many allies, particularly Donald and Goofy. But Riku ended up in Hollow Bastion, home of Maleficent. You can tell that Riku is aware from the beginning that Maleficent is not trustworthy and he rejects all attempts of manipulation from her. But when he finds himself alone, desperate to heal Kairi and eventually jealous of Sora, he collaborates with Maleficent as a kind of pact with the devil. He knows she's evil and we have to confront her at some point, but for the moment, he sees that allying with her brings him benefits, so he does it. Here one must pay special attention to his jealousy of Sora. It is that emotion that makes him go from being kind of neutral with Maleficent to allying with her. Again, as we saw in Sora's video, they both had a kind of curious mutual envy. Sora envied Riku's competence, confidence, and depth, but Riku envied how Sora, despite believing himself to be inferior, seemed to be happier despite his incompetence and ignorance.
Said back there about thinking I was better at stuff than you? To tell you the truth, Sora, I was jealous of you. What for? I wished I could live life the way you do. Just following my heart.
Now that Sora is the Keyblade's chosen one and is gaining strength and confidence, what's left for Riku? At this moment, Riku thinks, consciously or subconsciously, I am special, I should be the best, If that idiot Sora, who isn't special, is better than me, what am I? And thus begins Riku's descent to hell. From his encounter with Sora, he starts making worse and worse decisions. He helps Maleficent kidnap Jasmine, tries to sacrifice Pinocchio to save Kairi, and even accepts dark powers from Maleficent just to have a false sense of superiority over Sora. Even then, he is not fully collaborating with Maleficent, but it's easy to detect and reject the manipulation of someone clearly evil. It's more difficult when the manipulator is cunning. Riku ends up talking to Ansem, whom he takes as a kind of mentor. Ansem hides his intentions, and Riku, once again, desperate both to save Kairi and to prove himself superior to Sora, listens. It is thanks to Ansem that he learns the Keyblade was meant to be his. I can't even imagine the rush it would be for Riku to take the Keyblade from Sora. Finally, things are as they should be. I am the chosen one, I am special, and him? He is nothing. The funny thing about this is that even now, Riku appreciates Sora as a friend, but to feel good about himself, he needs to be better than him, to the point of hurting him. And he needs it so much that when Sora confronts him shortly after, he tries to kill him. We are about to see Riku's worst moment, but this is his second worst moment. He needs to show his superiority so much that when Sora debates having strength, Riku responds with something as barbaric as, "If you are truly strong, this won't kill you." And this falls apart when, indeed, metaphorically, Sora's strength saves him from Riku's attack, but not through brute force, with the power of friendship. And again, as I already mentioned in the Sora video, the mentality of "my friends are my power" shows the Keyblade that Sora is more worthy of wielding it than Riku. Here, Riku believes he has lost everything. He has sacrificed so much to gain more power, and yet Sora has defeated him easily. And in that moment of weakness, he lets himself be influenced by Ansem. But Ansem was only manipulating him for his own ends. Ansem never cared about Riku. And Riku accepts the ritual that Ansem proposes, believing it will give him even more power. But what it does is make Ansem possess him, take his body. In this moment, Riku loses his body, his identity, and his control over the power for which he sacrificed so much. Here, he really loses everything. I guess some people have to hit rock bottom before they start to improve. After Sora defeats Riku possessed by Ansem and sacrifices himself for Kairi, Ansem regains his original form, but when he goes to attack Kairi, Riku intervenes, using the little independence he has left to protect his friend. This is his first kind act in the entire game, but all he manages to do is buy a little time, as Ansem exiles him to the realm of darkness. The good thing is that this means Riku regains his body, although he is still connected to Ansem. The bad thing is that he is alone and weak in hell! Not to mention that he is the reason for the resurrection of an horribly evil man who intends to destroy life as we know it. And it is with this knowledge of how much he has messed up that Riku regrets what he has done. With the help of King Mickey, Riku appears during the final minutes of the game and helps Sora close Kingdom Hearts. When he asks him to take care of Kairi, Riku is actually admitting to Sora that he is the true hero, before getting trapped in the realm of darkness. Now is when I would like to compare Riku to Sasuke. This character from the anime Naruto was beloved at first. He appropriately embodied his role as a rival, and as often happens, he became a villain. But this is where it started to go off the rails. He was a villain for a very long time. In fact, he is the final enemy in Naruto's story. He literally leaves his dark path at the end. After which he is suddenly and strangely forgiven despite all his evil actions, and he reappears in Boruto as a hero after a long time skip. The amount of time the rival spends as a hero, anti-hero, or a villain is very important. Vegeta works because he starts as a villain, then becomes a villain who allies with the heroes out of necessity, then a neutral and selfish character, and has a relapse before truly becoming a hero. Virgil is a villain throughout an entire game, and even after everything that happens to him, upon his return, he remains a villain until the very end, where he doesn't even redeem himself and become a hero. He becomes, at most, neutral. With Sasuke, the complaint comes from the fact that after so many evils, being forgiven so quickly is shocking, and using the excuse that time has passed to quickly make him a hero, we don't see him redeem himself. so that redemption doesn't feel earned. I'm saying all of this because Riku is written completely the other way around, and no one has any complaints about his evolution. While Sasuke spends some time as a rival and a lot as a villain, redeeming himself in the end, Riku is a villain only during Kingdom Hearts 1. In fact, he isn't even a villain for the entire game. During the last hours, he allies with the heroes to seal Kingdom Hearts. And the next 4 games show us everything he has to do to earn redemption. I think that's why so many like Riku, because he shows that it takes a long time to make amends for our mistakes, but it's worth it. This redemption begins with Chain of Memories. Most of its short plot revolves around how Riku must rethink himself now that he has seen how his insecurities almost caused the destruction of the universe. And the first thing we have is that after rejecting the light and embracing the darkness, now the terror of the pain caused by his mistakes fills him with dread toward the darkness. So he tries to embrace the light, but this doesn't work either. Riku does not have the same affinity for light as Sora, and every time he uses darkness, he remembers the pain he has caused and feels the temptation of Ansem's influence that he still carries within him. Therefore, for 2/3 of this plot, Riku suffers with every step of his journey. He even contemplates how alone he is. While Sora always has someone by his side, Riku is practically alone, something he accepts as a consequence of his mistakes. Even within his solitude, he receives all the support that King Mickey can offer him, becoming the Disney companion equivalent for Riku. If Sora has Donald and Goofy, Riku has Mickey, marking the first hint that Riku is approaching the role of a hero. But the key moment comes against Zexion. As a master of illusions, he uses mirages to exploit Riku's guilt, culminating in an illusion of Sora attacking Riku with light. Riku, feeling so guilty, truly believes that Sora will try to kill him for everything he has done. But then, Namine arrives. Now that Kingdom Hearts 3 has been released, we know that Riku and Namine become a couple, and it's nice to see how Riku's healing began with Namine's support. She's the one who guides him on how to rethink his abilities. Darkness is anger, sadness, fear, suffering, but this does not mean it is bad. If you channel those emotions into something good, darkness can be as powerful as light. This may sound like anime nonsense, but it's a real lesson. Emotions like anger and grief can be very painful and bring us many problems, but they are just other facets of ourselves. They are only bad if we allow them to control us. If we control them, they will stop being obstacles and become allies. It is only when Riku learns this lesson that he begins to succeed. By staying calm and not succumbing to guilt, he detects Zexion's presence and dispels his illusions. Riku Replica cannot control his emotions. His existential crisis causes his fury and sadness to explode, and he is defeated by the new strength of the real Riku. And, of course, the game ends with Riku confronting his connection with Ansem, proving that his controlled darkness is more powerful than Ansem's darkness. After defeating Ansem, Riku gains the necessary trust for his new task to earn redemption, protecting Sora while he sleeps. What he has learned during this journey makes him know the path he will walk for the rest of his life.
What are you making me choose now?
Between the road to light and the road to darkness.
Neither suits me. I'm taking the middle road.
Do you mean the twilight road to nightfall?
No. It's the road to dawn.
In chronological order, the next game is 358 between 2 days. And here we see very little of Riku, but the little we see is very important. In his interactions, Riku seems somewhat depressed. He spends nearly a year protecting Sora from Organization 13, and it seems that year weighs heavily on him, as his connection with Ansem is still there. Even now that he is a hero, he continues to suffer from the mistakes he made, and although he cannot prevent it from affecting him, he can prevent it from affecting his behavior. In Kingdom Hearts 1, Riku was more than willing to sacrifice Pinocchio to save Kairi, but here, Riku helps Xion as much as he can. In their first encounter, he could have easily sacrificed her, but he recognizes her as a person and gives her the freedom to choose. No decision is the right one. Sora will only be able to awaken with Roxas and Xion. Whatever happens, someone is going to suffer. But Xion chooses to sacrifice herself, She doesn't want others to suffer because of her, and she wouldn't have chosen that without the kindness Riku showed her. It's a shame that something similar couldn't happen with Roxas. With Xion, he had several civil encounters, but when Xion dies, a furious Roxas attacks Organization 13 in a suicidal assault, and Riku is forced to stop him. If Roxas dies, not only will both him and Xion be dead, but Sora will never awaken. Riku must intervene to save Sora. Although Roxas shows greater power, it is Riku who has true determination. At this point, Roxas can only see his own suffering and makes the wrong decision. Riku has had a whole journey that helps him make the tough calls, in this case, to use all his dark potential. This makes him win the battle, but he is cursed to bear the appearance of Ansem, the man who caused him so much pain. Surprisingly, there's not much to say about Riku in Kingdom Hearts 2 either, as he spends the majority of the game hiding in the shadows. He could have reunited with Sora from the beginning, but now that he has Ansem's appearance, we add another emotion to his character. Now, he not only carries the guilt of what he has done, but also the shame. Every time he looks at himself, he only sees the men who manipulated him, deceived him, and caused pain to many. He's afraid that when Sora or Kairi look at him, they see the same thing, so he helps them only from the shadows. And it sucks because this means Riku gets his Keyblade off screen. This should have been a crucial moment, but we don't see it. He suddenly appears with a Keyblade in the last 2 hours of the game. But even though we don't see it, this means that Riku regained his right to be a chosen wielder of the Keyblade while carrying Ansem's appearance. As we all know, in a somewhat strange way, when Ansem the Wise's machine explodes, Riku finally regains his original appearance. It is here when he gets rid of his stupid bandage he wears over his eyes. I mean, it's stupid, because it means Riku is blind for a game and a half, but it's supposed to be, as Mickey says,
his eyes couldn't lie.
Riku still carries guilt, and despite everything, he still has his ego. But thanks to his evolution, his ego went from "I'm the best and screw everyone else" to "I don't want anyone to see me because they'll realize how bad I feel about what I did. As long as they don't see me and I don't see them, I don't have to face this feeling of guilt." But of course, then Sora arrives with his contagious optimism, and in an instant, all this emotional drama that Riku has been carrying for years disappears in a matter of seconds.
Lie? And just who are you trying to fool? Huh?
Myself.
Riku, come on, man. Why did you try to do so much on your own? You've got friends, like us.
Have you forgotten? I'll tell you why. Because I'm not a total sap like you.
Say that again.
At long last, Riku joins Sora as an equal. They both defeat Xemnas together, and Kingdom Hearts 2 ends with them speaking honestly until they understand each other and strengthen their friendship before returning home. Riku's journey could have ended here and we would all have been satisfied, but they made a brilliant decision. The next game is the Riku game. It was supposed to be a game about Sora and Riku, but as soon as we saw the cover and the promotional quotes, we knew what would happen. The cover even shows Sora falling and Riku ascending. This game is about Sora and Riku's mark of mastery. Now that Xehanort is going to return, we need a new Keyblade Master. Sora initially rejects the exam. It doesn't make sense. He has already saved the universe twice. But Riku wants to be tested because even after everything, he still carries the colossal mistake of his past. So Sora participates even if it's just to support his friend. At first, I remember getting angry with this game, thinking, come on man, with all the good you've done, are you still having these dramas? But damn, Riku almost killed his best friend and caused the destruction of the universe. It's normal to have a hard time recovering from that. Here, at last, for the first time, we see Riku having an adventure with a context similar to Sora's, and we see how different he is. Riku is straightforward and intelligent. Every time he arrives in a Disney world, he analyzes his surroundings, detects problems, and moves with speed and power to solve them as quickly as possible. Although Sora also accomplishes things during his adventure, particularly briefly healing Tron, it is Riku who shows greater competence. especially in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, where he defeats Frollo much faster than Sora, and in the Three Musketeers, where he saves Mickey, Donald and Goofy when Sora wouldn't have been able to. And at the end of the road, Organization 13 makes a colossal mistake. They are missing a member for the 13 Seekers of Darkness they need, and they want to possess one of the heroes. The original plan was Riku, but he has gained great resistance to the darkness, so they decide to possess Sora. This is Sora's downfall. Using the esoteric nature of dream worlds, they tempt Sora to uncover hidden truths, until he falls into the abyss of nightmares and ends up in an eternal sleep. This is the aforementioned fall of Sora. Here, Organization 13 wins. But their mistake comes from not making sure that Riku also falls. They leave him relatively alone while they deal with Sora, which allows him to reach his friend. The only one who confronts Riku is, once again, Ansem. It's not an illusion, it's not a metaphorical apparition, no, this time it is Ansem. Riku is finally truly confronting the one who caused him so much suffering. And it is in this confrontation that Riku finally sees how he should be. When you write a character who goes from selfish to selfless, there are two ways to do it, and they can be seen very clearly in the original and ultimate versions of Spider-Man. In the original version, Peter is tremendously selfish and gets offended and enraged quickly. This causes Uncle Ben's death, and from then on, he makes the active decision to reject his worst instincts. Thus, Spider-Man makes the Herculean effort to be good, because he's not.
No day goes by where I am not tempted to return to my inborn nature. What is better, to be born good, or to overcome your evil nature through great effort?
Ultimate Spider-Man presents a Peter who was already good, but external circumstances and traumas inflicted by society cause him to modify his behavior to adapt, which proves to be a mistake. This Spider-Man must strive to rediscover the goodness he always had. It is here, when Riku remembers why he used to be so obsessed with seeing other worlds. He remembers Terra. After so much evil, so much suffering, so much effort, Riku smiles when he realizes that he always had what he wanted, that the goodness within him was always there, simply hidden by his own ego and later by his own doubts. Riku finds his redemption in the words he spoke when he was just a child.
No. When I look at you, there's this memory that flashes back. A secret I said I'd keep when I was little. The main reason I kept dreaming about seeing the outside world was because of him.
I know it's out there somewhere. The strength that I need.
Strength for what?
To protect the things that matter. You know, like my friends.
Strength to protect what matters.
This is, at last, Riku's complete and total redemption. We will never see him doubt again as we have been doing for 4 games! Riku defeats Ansem and the young Xehanort and saves Sora with the power of waking, and this makes him worthy of being the new Keyblade Master. This is not just a great moment, it is proof of how much better Sora and Riku are than their predecessors. Terra couldn't control his darkness and he failed the exam. Aqua didn't have the emotional intelligence necessary to comfort and support her friend. Here, not only does Riku pass, but Sora, who fails, supports him as the good friend he is. There are people who didn't like Riku much in Kingdom Hearts 3 who think he didn't do enough. Well, I partially understand it. He spends half the game looking for Aqua and in the end it's Sora who saves her, but there's still a lot to unpack here, okay? First, I have to mention, his new Keyblade. Look, I understand why they wanted to change Riku's Keyblade. His original blade, Way to Dawn, symbolized who he was at that moment, someone who walks between light and darkness. But now that he no longer has that drama, now that he's a master both of light and darkness, they gave him a new Keyblade. Braveheart. The official explanation they gave in an interview is very good. Riku is not only a master now, but he is also the first Keyblade master of the next generation. Aqua, Terra, and Ventus inherited many problems from Icarus, such as the absolute rejection of darkness. Riku symbolizes a new beginning. Starting with him, enlightenment will be taught through the control of both light and darkness. Balance. That's why everyone has Keyblades based on old keys, but Riku gets a Keyblade based on a car key, a modern key. The explanation is very good, but the key itself still seems a bit ridiculous to me. I really like that, although it's not officially stated, Riku is considered the leader of the Guardians of Light. Sora is the great hero, he is the heart of the group, but when things get tough, the one you want by your side is Master Riku. That's why he's the one who keeps fighting when the rest of the Guardians fall. That's why he's the one who leads the charge against the Xehanort replicas. It may be Sora who rescues Aqua, but it's Riku who has the standout moment.
Any idea how lonely it is here? How frightening it is to have no one? All that's left in my heart is misery and despair. And now, you can share it.
There's no need. Got my own.
Aqua, who has never felt pain like this, needs to purge it by making others suffer. Riku, who has felt it and has learned to control it, uses it to save others from suffering. It's cinema. But his best moment comes from his connection with Riku Replica. This character appeared briefly in Chain of Memories, but Riku finds what remains of him in the realm of darkness and carries him throughout much of the game. In the battle against Xigbar and the second Riku Replica, something really cool happens, something that shows how far Riku has come, although I have to put it in Japanese because they translated it wrong in English. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, Riku acknowledges Sora's heroism and superiority when he asks him to take care of Kairi, before sacrificing himself and ending up in the realm of darkness. Here, Riku Replica admits Riku's heroism and superiority when he asks him to take care of Naminé, before sacrificing himself and dying for good. And finally, when Ansem falls for the last time, we have a moment that few understood. Riku tells Ansem that he will miss him. How is he going to miss this crazy person who caused him so much suffering? Well, because every time Riku has faced Ansem, he has come out a better person. Each clash with his nemesis made him better. And now that he knows he will never see him again, he knows he won't be able to use him as a catalyst to find new strength. And Ansem now respects Riku, admits that he is better than him, and encourages both Sora and Riku, now that they have proven that darkness is not the supreme power, as Ansem believed, to finish the journey he started, and seek what lies beyond.
What a journey you and I have had.
You know, it's strange. I think I'm gonna miss you.
Your strength is vaster than darkness. I knew I never stood a chance.
Ansem.
What? It is time to move on, boy. There is more to seek. So go forth now and seek it.
That's all for now. I wonder what they will make with Riku from now on. We have the same problem as Sora after Kingdom Hearts 1. What do we do with him? What do we do with him now that his character arc is complete? Well, we'll see. There's still a long time till Kingdom Hearts 4. Until next time.